right curbstone. 145 white sign on the left side towards it, then to the right curbstone, past it to the left curb, before the left curb a bit on the brakes, and Brünnchen turning in the gas. Uphill right curbstone, beginning of the curb on the brakes, and end of the curb turning into the left curbstone tight. End of the left curb, turn in right curb, and stay left. The other side 151, orange berry brakes, and turning in right curbstone to the outside left curbstone. Orange barrier left towards it. Now on the brakes, let go. Turn in right curbstone to the left curb. Hit on brakes, turning in left curb to the right curb, bit up on the brake and flat out over it. 158 fence on the left.
Good morning, comrades. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Nürburgring, Nordschleife, quite literally. And I think I by now really should already skip the introduction, because you know we're doing our first lap of the year, but already for like what, 5, 6, 7 series, 7 episodes where we're doing it on foot, so I can show you the important details that you otherwise might miss when you're traveling by car, and also to show you how it takes certain sections of the track, tell you a bit about the history. So now we, as you can see, we are at the world famous Karussell, and we now start the climb towards Hohe Acht. And yeah, after that, the very exciting sections, of course, the YouTube corner Brünnchen, but also Flanskaren, and eventually finishing the lap. So yeah, let's proceed with the climb towards Hohe Acht. After the exit of the Karussell and aiming towards the right curbstone, the next reference point could be used as the 145 marshal post, the small white sign 145, and actually next to it we can see a confirmation in form of a white dot. In case you missed previous videos, I strongly suggest to watch the very first one of this track walk series, but the white dots are used as indicators, as markers by driving schools such as BMW Driving Experience, etc., to indicate the turning point. So it's parallel to the white sign 145, and when you're driving it's easier to spot white sign to aim for than a small white dot somewhere on the tarmac. From here on you go on to the right curbstone, and then you have a climb. And depending on the type of car, it's either a flat out section or just a gentle lift, and maybe sometimes a bit of braking, because actually when you lift or brake a tiny bit, the car slows down already significantly because of the high climb. And after that, you need to watch out for the world's dangerous carpet. Aha, another white dot, which is hard to spot, but it's easier to spot the end of this rumble strip towards the left curbstone, for which you either lift or brake, as explained previously. And this left curbstone is quite a tricky one, because not sure if you can see it from the camera angle. There's a bit of a dip followed by a, not really a bump, but when going fast enough you would definitely lift slightly. By lift I'm not meaning lifting off the throttle, your wheels will lift up slightly, your suspension will decompress. And here, by the way, we have another dot which indicates turning point, but you should be already like traveling in a turning angle. But what I want to say is that you're losing slight of grip while turning, by going to the outside, and especially also you could take the tarmac differences into account. But here, don't ask me why, don't ask me how, who came up with the idea of putting this fake grass, this carpet here, which is honestly, well, it is extremely slippery, because it's not tarmac, it's literally carpet, and when it's wet, yeah, then once you touch it, you're pretty much done. So be extra cautious here. You can see, although the ideal trajectory is close to the carpet, and after that you would end up going to the left, you can see lots of new barriers here, because what happens, even if you are going with your rear wheel, with a rear wheel driven car, you'll end up spinning out and hitting that barrier. So this is why this section is relatively new, because it's being replaced due to accidents in comparison to other sections, or here of course if you understeer into it. Just a close-up of the carpet to show to you that it's actually carpet. I really still cannot believe it. Who came up with the idea of putting it here, and why? It's not a tennis court, it's a racetrack. After the carpet, at the right curbstone, again we're facing the opposite direction, you aim towards the left curb, small gentle braking or lifting towards the right curb before you end up at Hohe Acht. But one thing that you cannot see, because again you're driving this way and behind you is the the castle. But what you can see is actually sometimes racetracker photographers are here and taking picture, which ends up becoming a very beautiful wallpaper, usually especially in 16:9 or 9:16 for your mobile phone. And before we proceed to Hohe Acht, there is one fragment that I want to show to you, especially if you're new to this channel, that we shot here together with Kevin Estray and Manthey-Racing, and of course the 991 Mark II GT3 RS MR. I heard you're famous for pass on the grass. How does it feel to be passed on the grass on foot? I'm passing you on the grass. That's my best bad joke ever. And then approaching Hohe Acht. Some of you probably already know what I'm gonna say. It is, according to some, the high 8, and also referenced as the highest point of the track, but not since 1984 anymore, when they built the new connection of T13, or by now actually also Sabine Schmidt's curve. It is, I believe, like 2 meters higher than this particular section. But something interesting is happening here because of many camber and banking differences here. When you approach the braking zone of Hohe Acht over here, there is still quite some banking happening, quite some little jump and offset. So you really need to be prepared, depending on the type of suspension that you're running, depending on the type of car that you're running, that you might have a bit of lift off, and sometimes ESC might even kick in together with traction control and prevent you from turning in. Yep. Whoa! And if you will not hit that barrier here on the left side, what may happen, because of again the unsettling characteristic of this section of the track, you may spin out. So you can see all these skid marks here, and well, become the reason why this is a new barrier over there. So be extra cautious with approaching this section, the highest section of the track. And once you are at the highest point, at the end of the curb, it's a nice turn into the right curbstone. But what I want to show to you first is that here is the other side of Steißstrecke, something that you saw in yesterday's video. We walked through here quite often last time with Tom Scott, so I'll probably forget to link the video in the video description, but you can check it out how it looks like for when you're actually walking there. I believe 27.5% of like inclination of the climb or descent in this case. Hohe Acht is followed by Hedwigs Höhe. Höhe means straight. Hedwig is the name of the wife of the founding father Otto Kreutz of the Nürburgring. Yeah, because according to the legend, she was coming here to watch her husband work when she was standing here, and well, they named this section after her. The only thing that you should know is that you should use that orange barrier over there as a reference point to aim before using that as a turning point towards Wippermann. So from there, in a straight line towards the orange barrier, and actually a bit before that, obviously, is your turning point to the right curb. But as a beginner, you can use the orange barrier as a reference point to aim at. Then right curb, which is followed by the famous, well, actually the second famous curb of the Wippermann challenge. Yeah, and from here on out, I would say that you should really know the track characteristics, track dimensions, because it's followed by a blind left-hander of Wippermann, where you have the option of going over the left curbstone, following by the right curbstone, which is being marked as the Wippermann challenge, because everyone takes it as much to the right as possible for a nice picture on Race Tracker. But yeah, as you can see, there are not really clear reference points. We don't even see any like dots on the tarmac that are being used by the driving experience schools. So you kind of have to be, I don't know what this is. It's yeah, maybe I shouldn't even know, or shouldn't ask myself. Or is this actually? No, it's not ice. Maybe some buck paint or something. I don't know. Yeah, you really have to feel where you are on the track, know where you are, and then decide if you are going to take the left curb followed by the right curb. I usually try to avoid the left curbstone because it might unsettle the car more than it's necessary, and a lot of professional drivers actually also say that it's even not necessary to take any of the curbs, but it's really up to you. And from the left curbstone, as mentioned previously, but now you can see it better from this angle, you have the transition to the right side and optionally to go onto the right curbstone, and famously optionally to go completely on it, even go on the grass and have a picture taken by one of the race tracker photographers from that side. And as mentioned, it's really up to you, up to many drivers, if you want to take the curb or not, or even some of the grass over here. Yeah, just don't take any of the barrier because it's unnecessary. Important thing, however, is that in the wet, this is also one of the trickier wet sections, so you need to be completely on the opposite of the dry line. So you would be here on the outside where you can see lots of graffiti, something that I mentioned in the very first video of this series, that use the graffiti as reference point to understand where the cars are not driving in the dry days and thereby don't leave any rubber. So here, staying on the outside, long time on the outside before going towards Eschbach, which is actually on top behind this corner over there. But before we get there, I want to say one thing, that once you come out of the curbstone, you aim towards this curb, and the best is actually to aim again towards one of the FIA fences. In this case, it's a Marshall Post 158. Very easy to spot, and it's also your braking point. So brake there and then stay longer on the left side until the Audi Go graffiti that you will see there. It's like yellow graffiti. It's actually becoming less visible with the years, so maybe we should paint something there that would be more recognizable. So I don't know why there is no dot as a reference point for turn-in, but yeah, just use the graffiti as long as it is there. Just remember, it's a late turning point to the right curb. There is a big yellow dot, but I think it's kind of part of this Audi graffiti I was referring to, but who knows. Turning into the right curbstone, it's a very blind crest to which you really have to commit, because on ideal line you will end up almost on the grass, yeah, before braking towards Eschbach. See from here the characteristic of the track, how it is an actual hill, the highest point of it, while you're still traveling to the outside. So again, with the highest point going from lower to higher to back to lower, your suspension will lift, and if you have actually too stiff over suspension, yeah, you will probably lose traction and end up here somewhere. Also here, important to stay on the outside in case of wet conditions to avoid the dry line. Oh wow, interesting. Why would there be here sand for the oil? I wonder, did someone like spill something recently, or is it interesting. Well, that wouldn't be from the end of the season, would it? Because I believe there was like a big accident, like a big massive oil spill, but if it's still from then it shows how how thick it was, that it's even here after like what, 2 months, even more, with all the rain and snow that we had in between. Any case, approaching Eschbach, so here you can use this rumble strip as an extra part of the track. Then you proceed towards Eschbach, and for me it's like I don't know, it's a corner I dislike the most, because like, yeah, you're going downhill, you have to brake, and you end up going close to the barrier, and like, I don't know, it's something that I don't like myself. An interesting point is that when you watch the GT3 RS MR lap time video, lap record video, or just the GT3 RS, you see actually that Kevin Estre, I'm pretty sure a lot of other drivers as well. But during Scuderia Hanseat driving training, it was really pointed out to us that the steering movement, the steering input, happens before the sign already. Do we have workout detected? Yeah, well, we had already quite a lot of workout detected today for walking. Yeah, so actually probably somewhere here you start steering in, which looks quite early. Important tip that I can give to you is always look downhill where you want to go, and especially in this corner. Don't look at the sign, don't look at the barrier, look downhill left where you want to go for a better entry. Horse noise.
Horse noise.
Racing happens here also off-season on bobby cars, unofficial. And as mentioned in previous videos, if you get hurt, you don't blame the Nürburgring because you're officially trespassing. Right, don't want to end it on a sad or like educative note on such a weird thing, but I am going to end this video here because we already covered quite a lot, and we have arrived now to Brünnchen, that you know as YouTube corner. So from here on we're gonna walk towards the end of the track in tomorrow's video, because I'm almost out of battery. I hope I will make it, but to find out if I'm going to make it myself in person and with the battery, subscribe, like, share, and yada yada, and see you in tomorrow's video. Hope you guys enjoyed today, and let's finish on this amazing shot.